Success Mantra is a program which features people, successful individuals from various walks of life. They are less known heroes who believe in their dreams and have conviction to live their full potential. Idols, icons, innovators who care to live every moment on their own terms.
Welcome to another edition of Success Mantra in a series where we cover people who are doing a lot of great work for the society. Today we have a guest of the same honor, and it's a great joy to have Mr. Siddhartha with us today. And before we go ahead, we would request him to share his journey of life and how it has been so exciting.
I don't know whether it is exciting or not, but it has been full of experiments. I mean, just imagine, people can hardly go to think about it right now, but I don't have anything called as a very formal schooling. I have been to school only for maximum 2 years of a time, not more than that. I have been to college for about 30 to 40 days only. Most of those things that I have done is myself. I mean, my studies and my learning, more importantly, I have done it myself. And that has filled me with good deal of an experiment as well. That's number one. Second is there is despite the so-called family background and other aspects, I have picked up some components of leading a life that is very, very, very different from what it has been so. Because it used to be an established political family which gave cabinet ministers, union ministers, and chief ministers to a state. But then I all in all, accidentally or somehow, I went on to become a teacher and then an author, then an academician, and then whatnot.
Right.
My experiences range from being a physicist to a geologist to a fashion designer to a multimedia trainer to an author, to a teacher, to a mentor, then to an academician, an earth scientist, a panel advisor, advisor to the governments. And all of this happened only because I came under certain degree of a problem, some amount of a problem. So everywhere, at any point of a time, there was a problem. I deviated myself. For example, there was one school which refused to take me. So then I thought that is, well, I have to know some amount of an English. And then I started studying English. And during my days, we used to study English only from 8th standard onwards. It was not before that point of a time at all. So it was at that point of a time that you started writing A, B, C, D. Of course, it never happened in my case. But then that was the type of schooling that we had. That was the established norm in that era. So from that time onwards, to getting proficiency in English, of course, I had a proficiency in Hindi, that is my mother tongue, and I'm very, very comfortable with Hindi that way. Why exactly was the need for changing so many things? Was it because everywhere I felt a problem. For example, I felt a problem with fashion designing, largely because my family said that you can't be a fashion designer, you can't be a darji. Someone in the family has to be a bureaucrat or a politician or a gunda of sorts. So you come and prepare for civil services examination. So I started preparing for civil service examination. I was not equipped to prepare for civil service examination, and my mode of study was very, very wrong. I used to pick up a book and I used to study it throughout the whole of the night, day, and so on till I used to finish it. So gradually, I started picking up one book, another book, another book. And in this manner, I finished something like 100 books in 1 year of a time. Wow. And then I found myself completely unfit to prepare for civil service examination only because I went on to become a bit too analytical in this case. I went on to have an academics-like an orientation. So these have been the changes that have taken place. And at one point of a time in 2012, I met an accident. And that necessitated that I had to change my course from teaching because my teaching used to be very, very intensive, almost 12 hours of a regular teaching in a coaching institute of sorts. So the moment I changed it, it changed completely. So I went into academics. Then I started interacting with some of the government officials, and they found my advice as a very, very genuine. And then when I met the people from Maldives, these foreign minister, his president, they said that you are a strategic thinker, you be with us. And that is how I kept on changing, kept on changing. You call it interesting, I call it full of accidents. Maybe someone else will go to say full of experiments, whatever that anyone can go to call.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what I also hear is you have been involved with the government and you have been supporting a lot of different kinds of projects. And there's this project Brahma, which is there, tell us a little bit about your background in terms of how you have been supporting the government and what kind of research, etc., has been going on in this regard.
I'm going to put this in a different manner. It's not that I'm supporting the government, I'm seeking the support of the government in one of my research projects that is about paleogeographic reconstruction. My research is going to be all about how is it that I have reconstructed the entire history of the planet Earth and the entire of the universe, right from its birth to the present day. And this has been a seminal research. It is a very, very solid research. Not too many people would have done that. That's one. Now, the outcome of this result is going to be twofold. One is that we can establish a complete city based on this research. It can go to be a city of earth science. And the second is that we can go to map the whole of the world and go on to give a description of the entire of the known places and unknown places, unknown territories, unknown terrains as well, which has not been done at all. Now, India is very well equipped to do it so. India is well equipped because if you want to have a knowledge mapping of the world, we have the satellite technology, we have ISRO, whose pictures are going to be of a very, very high resolution. They're wonderful, simply wonderful out of the world. And then we can go to have sun-synchronous satellites, which will go to map each and every portion of the world. Now, this is technology. Second is, as far as the knowledge part is concerned, I myself have, through writing of 43 books, have accumulated enough amount of information about almost every part of the world. So sitting in maybe in this place, I can go to talk about Argentina, I can go to talk about Bolivia, I can go to talk about UAE, I can go to talk about Canada, I can go to talk about Russia, any place of and even ocean bodies as well. And I can go to paint a picture as well. So we are digitizing that part. We are making it in a form of a documentary as well. And you imagine, you have a rotating globe, and on that rotating globe, you're going to take your cursor anywhere you're going to take your finger on your mobile, and that place starts playing its documentary. And not only that, you can go to see the place live, completely live as well. That means, let's say a place is called as Vladivostok, and Vladivostok is news, and you have just touched that. So you will be able to know Vladivostok is day or night, what is the temperature condition in Vladivostok, what exactly are the winds that are blowing in that region, how is the ocean currents and ocean waves in that region, how is it that the people are moving in the state, the present state of almost the entire of the world. It will be the first such type of a project ever taken in the world. And it's my organization. Trans Brahma happens to be my organization. That means knowledge beyond the earth. Trans Brahma. That means beyond wisdom. That means anything that we can go to think about knowledge beyond wisdom. That is what it is going to be all about. And I plan to involve. I'm involving governments as well, involving United States, involving UAE, involving India, and it is, unless we go to integrate the entire of the world's scientists and the world's government, this project can never be successful at all. That's what I'm doing right now.
Wow, that's like phenomenal, project that you have landed up with. Siddharthji, it's been interesting journey, and you have kind of you name it and you have done it. It's like that, literally. So, in this journey, what does success really mean to you?
Well, it's indeed a difficult question for me, because when you go to keep on experimenting, certain times, certain small experiments, and they going to get recognized, temporarily it looks like successful, but then the threshold level goes on to increase. That means your expectations increase and other things go on to increase because it has to be taken at the next level.
Right.
So success, as I go on to see it, is first the recognition of whatever that you have done. That's number one. Second is the implementation of it, and implementation has started taking place partially. That means first phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase. We are in one of these phases. Maybe we have to take it to the 100th phase. So ultimately, with respect to that, it has to be at the 100th phase.
True.
But for me, success will go to mean that whatever that capabilities I have with respect to doing something, for example, sometimes mentoring people, sometimes writing book. So if I'm in a mood to write book and I'm going to write a very good book, very, very well decorated, that is success to me temporarily. Now, it's a different matter whether the book sells or not. But I have made a book and I know that no one can go on to make it better than me. Then it depends on the marketing part whether we are able to take it to the so-called ladders of success in this case or not. But then the satisfaction that I'm going to be getting out of it has been so far driving me. But I'm getting a bit impatient right now as well.
Why is that?
This largely because creative people are not very practical. And I'm essentially a creative person. And I'm not very practical. So I have, for example, I have invested huge amount of money in my research. And of course, I have experimented so much. So you can imagine that I have gathered so much amount of experience, experiment, knowledge, information, wisdom. Now that requires to be used right now because I don't have age on my favor, right? And because I don't have it, so I need to do it a bit early. Otherwise, all of those things that I have done that will go to remain unused, unutilized, and untapped as well. That's the reason I'm getting a bit impatient these days.
All right. So what really inspired you to write 43 books, and which one is your favorite?
My favorite is one book that is The Earth's Dynamic Surface. It's about the geology of the Earth. Now, it's favorite because it's a compilation of almost all of those facts associated with the subject or associated with the topic, which has not been done anywhere right now. That's number one. Second is the language is very, very compact. That means to read and study one sentence, you have to have a dictionary, you have to have a lot of things. Only then you will be in a position to understand that part.
Right.
So it is a testimony to the type of English that I can go to write and the English that I can go to use it as well. The third is profusely illustrated. The fourth is that it has been revised to such an extent that is no one can go on to improve upon it. It's simply not possible. It's the book on that topic. Now, the present generation doesn't go on to they are not equipped to study it, largely because it requires an imagination, it requires a language, it requires a very solid basics. Only then they will be able to study it. So despite the fact that it doesn't going to be having a wide market, that is my favorite. But I am working on another favorite book right now, that is Nation, State, Territory, and Geopolitics. That is on international relations.
Wow, beautiful. So, typically, how long does it take you to complete a book?
A book like Nation, State, Territory, and Geopolitics will never be completed, largely because every 6 months it requires to be revised. Okay. Largely because the foreign relationship change, the paradigms of the relationship going to change. But I'm just going to give an example. When I was writing one chapter that was called as atmospheric circulation, how is it that the atmosphere behaves? How is it that the wind's going to blow? And why is it that, I'm going to tell you certain facts. That is, if we are able to offload some glaciers from the polar regions and which is melting, then the wind speed will go on to increase. The salinity of the oceans will go on to increase. And that has the potential to slow down the rate of rotation of the Earth. And if it goes on to get slowed down even by 1 second, then can you imagine all the GPS satellites anywhere in the world will be rendered useless.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now that is the implication of it. That is the implication. And one chapter that required 9 months of a time for me to write. That was atmospheric separation, because I found it very, very difficult to understand. Some of these chapters, like understanding of the monsoons, they require no less than something like some month or two, essentially for writing it and putting it on the paper also.
Sure. So, since you have been researching and writing about these various things, what is your perspective about global warming and what is going on currently, uh, in the world across various locations and regions?
See, global warming is a fact. Global warming is also politics. Global warming is ecological disaster. Global warming is a very good economics as well. Name anything and it is global warming. It is a fact because temperatures are indeed rising in some places. It's geopolitics because it is a ploy by some of the countries to demolish some of those notions, established notions, sell their products, for example, solar technology, even though global warming may not be taking place. It is a ploy by some countries to arm twist. For example, it may be a ploy of United States to arm twist Russia, and it is. Largely because if the glacier is going to melt, Russia will be having ample amount of melt water, fresh water, and exposed islands in the Arctic region. And Russia will be too happy. The United States keeps on saying that it's taking place. And Russians going to say, no. Half of the world is not convinced that global warming is taking place. Half of the world is. We are in the first half of the world. Now, global warming is a good economics, largely because only by raising the boogie of global warming, you can go to sell a good number of products. And you cannot go to keep on selling the same product. You keep on changing it. For example, you keep on raising, you instill certain things in the minds of the people, fear in the minds of the people about ozone depletion. And then you're going to change the technology and say, so this is one technology that will go on to be so useful for ozone depleting substances. And this substance you have to use. Already the market is changed. You may have, that means you are already and constantly creating a market. This is what also global warming is. Global warming is an ecological disaster as well, because if global warming is taking place, and I'm using the word if global warming is taking place, then it has the potential to change the species composition. It has the potential to recede the glaciers. It has the potential to bring about the glacial lake outburst flood, and it has the potential to snap the glaciers as well, and its attendant consequences. So it is all of it.
So, what's the future? As in, how do we stop this and how do we stay safe? Because, if you look at the predictions of Nostradamus, or, the way things are going, and even COVID. So there's a lot of disastrous, kind of situations which are happening across the globe. So what is the way to address some of these things in terms of international relationship, or even in terms of global warming? How do you kind of resonate with them, and what is your solution for it?
You ask 4 questions in one of these questions. You say there is what is global warming and its solution, COVID and what are the causes and its solution, and then you're talking about the geopolitics associated with it, and then what is the solution to it as well, right? Now, if we actually go on to pick up this topic and pick up this conversation, we'll go take no less than something like some 6-7 hours of a time. But sure, I'm going to shorten this part here. Yeah. The solution to global warming, or for that matter, any problem that we are facing, is because of our consumerist attitude, because of our consumerist behavior. And our consumerist behavior is what? That is, take an example, you go on to pollute a region. Now, when you're going to pollute, you're going to produce a product, then it involves some employment, it involves some raw materials. You're going to increase the GDP of a country. Now, its production will go on to increase pollution. You're going to take some steps to control pollution, that will go on to increase GDP. Now, then we'll go to pick up a person to manage the pollution, that will also go on to increase GDP. Then you will go to start suffering from some diseases because of pollution, There will be some doctors and there will be a medical team. They will going to get employment. That will also going to increase GDP. Then you will going to have some law and order problem because of it, created because of it. And that will also going to have a police establishment administration that will going to also increase GDP. And then you will going to have a complete mechanism to deal with administrator, and then that will also going to establish a lot of people, employ a lot of people, that will also going to increase the GDP. That's the politics. The solution is very simple. Now, everything is happening because we want happiness in the form of currency notes. That is it. Otherwise, there is no problem at all. There is absolutely no problem. We create a problem, we solve a problem, we create a strife, we go to try to solve a strife, and these things have no parallel at all anywhere. And that is where the basic problem lies. It's a consumerist society. These are the signs of consumerist society. The moment you're going to take it to minimalistic society, this problem is solved. That's number one. COVID has been, all in all, a creation of China. What China wanted was, it wanted to insert a disease, a virus, and by inserting it, it wanted that the world must come to a standstill. And Chinese have many, many viruses roaming around in their Wuhan laboratory. And sooner or later, they are going to do that. They are going to insert these viruses. So their aim was threefold. When a country is in problem with its population, with its people, China will go to acquire some of the companies of that region because they will go to be demolished. They will be almost nearing bankruptcy. China started doing it also. Now, when any country will be fighting its people, fighting the war against this type of disease, then China will go to occupy their territory as well. China has been doing it so.
Yes.
So China has been badly exposed in this case. The only solution to COVID is boycott China, boycott China, boycott China, do it in any manner possible. And if you're not, then that's the problem. The third part is there. That is our problems, all of our problems can be solved if we can go on to be a bit original. Most of us carry a colonial mindset. And when I say colonial mindset, that means our thinking is not ours. Our thinking is essentially a product of whom? Product of some of the countries that inserted that thinking. For example, you use a completely Western garment in India. Now that is not suited to the country. Still, you're going to be using it. You imagine before 94, before Aishwarya Rai and Sushmita Sen became Miss Universe and Miss World, 90% of the girls used to be wearing Indian clothing. Now, is it not they were looking beautiful? They were. But then these were the idols, these were the icons that were created essentially for the purpose of changing the perception of the people that the girls, only those girls will be looking beautiful or good looking who will be skinny, completely skinny of sorts. Before that, Indian girls used to be very happy, fleshy figures of sorts. So we are constantly in conflict with what we think and what exactly that we are made to think. It is this conflict that is the basic reason for our strife and our problems, because we are always dualistic in nature and dualistic in thinking. So the moment we're going to make it simplistic, the problem is solved. The moment we're going to make our living minimalistic, the problem is solved. Ultimately, for us, if we go on to think that success is all about leading our life the way we want to and being happy, then to be happy, you can go on to be happy talking to me as well, talking to someone who you like also, right? You don't require a Mercedes-Benz or a Rolls-Royce or a private jet in this case. You don't require it. A person who is riding a private jet, maybe same amount, he is happy in the same amount of person who is driving a scooty for the first time, perhaps. Then their happiness cannot be measured, but then by and large, they are happy as they can be.
True. It's interesting because my next book is actually, on minimalism and materialism. So it's interesting to see that can actually sort out a lot of our issues in life. if we just resorted to the, kind of simple things to find joy in life, right? Beautiful.
Yes.
So, Siddharthji, I'm sure that with all these successes, there are some traits and behaviors and personality aspects which has really helped you forge ahead in whichever field that you have kind of gone into. So, what have been these traits which has supported you all through life?
I'm constantly working. I'm working 16 hours a day, maybe 18 hours a day, every day, every day, every day. Maybe sometimes my direction may not be right in this case, but then as you're going to say, that is, you have to keep on working, keep on evolving, keep on evolving. I'm learning a lot of new things. I'm a very good learner. I learn a lot of it. Of course, sometimes I do going to find it difficult to change myself, but then that has been one part. I'm trying to learn, trying to adjust, trying to change myself as well. And in a lot of situations and a lot of circumstances, the moment I think that I require to change it, I change it. Otherwise, personality trait wise, I may not going to know that as well. That is one. Second is what has helped me survive is my knowledge. That's another part. The third part has been that is I don't know why, but then I have been endowed with so much amount of trust that people have bestowed on me, so much amount of faith people had on me, so much amount of love and affection that I have received. That is that keeps me going even in the most troubled times also. And I keep on picking up troubles. It's not that troubles come to me. I go on to pick up a trouble and then say, now I want to be with you. And of course, then I go on to be completely floored thereafter. And everyone keeps on warning, see, this you are again going to be creating a trouble for yourself. But then it's a personality trait that I go on to be having. That is, I find it difficult to comprehend that part and difficult to deal with it. But then other than that, it has been hard work, largely because not because I want to work hard, largely because I don't have an option. Compulsion, it's complete compulsion. And I don't, I have a very high degree of self-esteem, not ego. Self-esteem is very high. Consequently, any trouble that I go to face, I try to solve it, try to overcome it, and that is what has kept me going. Had I got some ego, ego means that is you're trying to demean someone, you're trying to look up upon someone, and you're trying to look down on someone. Now, this has not been a trait. Had it this been then I wouldn't have been able to do so much amount of creative work. I wouldn't have been a scientist, I wouldn't have been an author, I wouldn't have been a mentor, I wouldn't have been a fashion designer, I wouldn't have been an advisor to governments, I wouldn't have been a physicist, I wouldn't have been an earth scientist, I wouldn't have been a thought leadership trainer also,
Wow.
because I keep on evolving.
Beautiful, beautiful. And which has been the most important achievement of your life?
I don't think that I have achieved anything in life so far.
No, what
I
gives
don't
you
think so.
what gives you a lot of joy when you look back? Which is that moment which gives you a lot of joy, makes you feel that okay, you know.
During my teaching days, there used to be a good number of batches, something like some 10, 15 batches of students whom I taught for civil services. They, till about certain time, till the time when the students used to be very, very decent, till that time, that was 2010, 11, 12, maybe maximum, they used to give me very, very good farewell and the type of affection, love that they used to give me, and the type of crushes that I used to be having and people conveyed to me, that was one joyful moment. I still go on to be in touch with a good number of people that way, and it may have been 20 years of a time, maybe 25 years of time, but that has been a joyful moment, all in all.
Wow, beautiful. And like you did mention that you have faced a lot of challenges. So what has been, like how have you dealt with failures and come out of them?
I haven't come out of my failures yet, Sonali ji. I mean, I'm a gross failure. You talked about achievement. I don't think that I have any achievement. And I consider myself that I'm one of the greatest failures in this region, in this territory, in my house, or in society. Largely because, as I go to see, that is, If I have certain capabilities and I'm not able to reach that capability, I'm a failure. And from that perspective, I'm a failure. If you ask me, I'm a failure. Maybe if you're going to take a public perception into account, they may go to say that I'm a huge success and this and that and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
I do not subscribe to that. Success is all about how is it that you're going to feel about it. It's all about leading your life. And if I'm left to lead my life, I'll go to play cricket. I'll go to travel to the whole of the world without having the baggage of trying to do some research on these type of continents or countries of sorts. And I'll go on to talk to a variety of type of people in every country of sorts.
Wow, excellent. So, thank you so much, Siddhartha, for making time and talking to us about your journey, about being a scientist, physicist, author of 43 books, and of course, the varied experiences that you have had in life. What is the parting mantra or, like message that you want to share with our audience, which you feel is going to help them achieve their goals and accomplish their, journey the way they want?
Life is very, very, very tough. Finding good people, people who go on to, people who love you, people who go to respect you is the very, very difficult part. If you have someone, don't lose them. It's tough, so there is no way that you will going to have any type of respite at any point of time. And the third is that anything can go to make you happy. You have to define that happiness for you. It's not something that is going to be outside. I am trying to still learn that part, how to be happy. The moment you're going to become happier, you will be successful. Not that you will going to become successful in the eyes of the society or the people that will going to make you happy.
I think the biggest success is when you look at yourself and you feel satisfied. So then itself success is achieved, right? So very well said that there are very few people who really stand by you, and they deserve a lot of attention and support in the journey of life. Awesome. Thank you so much once again, and look forward to interact with you, and of course like all the mentoring and teaching that we are planning to do together. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.